win totals come from DraftKings Sportsbook. Dominique Foxworth, the Eagles total 10.5 wins. You go over under that.
I gotta go under. 11 is a lot of wins, so I think they'll be close to it. They'll be around 9 or 10 wins. I think that's going to take some adjusting, assuming they move on from A.J. Brown. This defense is still incredibly talented. They're going to be a very good team, but 11 is such a big number to predict. I feel a lot more comfortable suggesting around 9 or 10 wins for this group.
Shefty, let me.
9 or 10 wins around this group.
Expectation is still a couple weeks from now, the A.J. Brown thing gets done.
Nothing has changed, Greeny. It is still tracking for a post-June 1st trade to New England. We'll see if the two sides can finalize compensation that would send A.J. Brown to New England. That's what I expect in the end, and I expect that trade to include a first-round pick in 2028.
Okay, 28. So not the 27 draft that everyone is dying to be in. D-Wood, let's talk about.
Yeah, that is weird. A lot.
A lot to unpack there. If it's a 2028 pick, then you have to imagine then a big player is also added in to make it make sense a little bit, but I don't know. Like I don't even want to try to spend too much time trying to predict if it's 2027, 2021, 2028, who's part of it, who's not. Like 'cause we're going to find out actually in a couple weeks, I guess. So, it's like what's the point of trying to predict exactly what it is? But the Eagles will win less than 10.5 games. I think pretty much all the top teams are like their over-unders 10.5 I think is what it is. It might be changing, but the last time I had looked at it, it was 10 and January 2nd. And so, I think this is where it's kind of like a weird situation because when you're 9.5 it's like easy to say more. Right? When you're 10 and January 2nd or 11 and January 2nd, right? It's just like if you say the under, it sounds like you're saying that you don't believe in this team. Right? That this team is not good enough, etc., etc. I mean, which obviously I believe that the Eagles will be great, and if this defense still continues to be great, I think this offense is clearly going to be even better than it was last year. I think it's I don't think it's even remotely on the table that this offense is not significantly better than what it was last year. Significantly better. Let me say that one more time. Significantly better than it was last year. But I'm going to give myself a tiny little out unless the O-line continues to be awful. But I'm anticipating everything to be significantly better. So I'm clearly optimistic. I mean, saying that this offense is it's going to take time to adjust because of A.J. Brown, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But there is something that is interesting. But listen to what Greg Cosell talks about when discussing a new system. Better. You know, I've talked to a lot of coaches over the years, I'm sure you have as well, and most coaches will tell you that it takes 2 to 3 years for a quarterback to really get a sense of mastery within a specific offensive system. And we know that Ben Johnson's system has a lot of detail, a lot of complexity, a lot of nuance, and that's going to take some time. There's no question this guy is a really yeah. This is Greg Cosell talking to, other coaches and whatnot. And I find that interesting. For many reasons. 1, it takes years, and Jalen Hurts has never had years with the same system, with the same coordinator. So, that alone is huge. And 2, he now has another new system, and so that, in order for it to be officially maximized and optimized, that can take a couple years. So, makes it all the more remarkable what Jalen Hurts has been able to do with the revolving door of coordinators. And I don't think that this system from Shane Steichen is going to be super simple and super straightforward. So, it is going to be a little bit more complex. It is going to push Jalen Hurts to operate in a way that he hasn't done before. So, can there be growing pains? For sure. For sure. And that's why the O-line is probably more important this year than it ever has. And again, I'm not saying that it has to be this dominant force, but as long as it's not a liability for them, and they can really kind of go through some of these growing pains and go through some of the some of this process, being able to still get good enough protection, not having to kind of navigate around that, being able at the very least able to have like a consistent positive run game, right? Like the rest will be Shane Steichen's optimizing and Jalen Hurts, etc. But just being able to have a more reliable, positive run game and not the consistent hey, we're going to hand the ball off and go nowhere, and actually we're going to go backwards and constantly set up like 2nd and 10, 3rd and 9. Then that kind of compounds the issue, but I think as long as the old line isn't a liability and then you can consistently just have like some positive momentum in the running game. It doesn't have to be explosive. It doesn't have to be like, this all or nothing thing. Just not what it was last year than any of the growing pain issues that a new coach quarterback duo in a new system is going to have. Very confident in Eagles being able to find their way rough it, especially Jalen Hurts because this is what Jalen Hurts has done for his entire career. It's like if anything it's just the one superpower that he has is being able to consistently work with a new coach, a new play caller, a new voice in his helmet year after year after year after year. Him and Sean Mannion have reportedly multiple outlets have reported that they have hit it off. That they are loving life together. But again, we're yet to really hear any other reporting on that. There's no big massive conversation about that now, but of course we know there was plenty of conversation in the other direction. So, I think right now, and this is why I don't care too much about the whole over-under type aspect of this all. I just think all these top teams right now, everybody's going to be floating around 11 or 12 wins. I think maybe outside maybe we could see a team or two get a little bit higher, but they are going to absolutely have the NFL gods on their back, at their back. It's just going to be oh, they were able to win more. And it was well, look what happened in this game. Look what happened in that game. Look what happened in that game. I just think that this is going to be incredibly tight right now. So, it's just I'm not losing too much sleep on it. And apparently the Eagles actually have a pretty easy sched. I don't remember it off the top of my head who exactly they're playing. I know the schedule released now, the other day, but I'd have to take a look at that more closely. I don't buy in too strongly to the strength of schedule when you're actually a genuine straight-up football team. I think if you're kind of like an average football team, then you have a weaker schedule, it can help you make you look a little bit better. But yeah, I am just my whole thing is are you great or you not, right? It's I remember I think actually both Eagles Super Bowls that they won in 2017 and 2024, people were and maybe even 2022 when they just got there, people were oh, this team's not actually that good. It's just the schedule. Who have they beaten? Blah 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 blah. And then they either get to the Super Bowl and win or they just get to the Super Bowl. So, it's obviously quite good. Whereas flip side of the Patriots, people were talking about that schedule and they got rocked in the Super Bowl, right? So, it's not all, hey, this team is not as good as we think it is because of their schedule, is created equally. So, but to my knowledge based on some of the other conversations that I saw mainly around the Bears cause that's what Colin had been talking a lot about the Bears' strength of schedule. They got the toughest schedule. And I feel in one of those clips I saw that the Eagles, don't have a really tough strength of schedule, but someone please in the comments section definitely let me know if I'm right or wrong on that. And I'm sure, maybe a little bit more over the weekend or next week as now that the schedule has officially been released, we're going to and I'll make those videos too, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of segments coming up where it's just is this a little tough schedule for and insert whatever team oh that's a tough 4 weeks 4 through 8 and so I'll make those videos I'll go through that more deeply but as the time of me recording this video right now I haven't seen any of them yet and so once that stuff comes out we can start to look at it a lot more deeply. Those are just my thoughts I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and the potential for them to actually only win 9 or 10 games? A.J. Brown getting a the first round pick in 2028, maybe it's 27 and 28, that'd be pretty cool. And what do you think about this offense struggling? Because A.J. Brown's gone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and I'd absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, see you next time.